I think Iran has been backed to a corner. And if you think about it, if we say that the de facto police of the world is the US, well, we do have a bully on that seat, right? And we've seen his negotiation tactics with Ukraine. It's, give us your minerals or, you're doomed. And so it kind of begs me to think that, what kind of deal is on offer for Iran? Is it something like, okay, give us oil for free and then you're safe? You can, as long as you say that you're not doing anything with nuclear, we'll just leave you alone. But on the whole, aren't we on the wrong side of humanity here?
The wrong... What do you mean the wrong side of humanity?
Well, think about it. We're thinking that Iran shouldn't have nuclear weapons. Yep. It doesn't have a right to... It shouldn't have the right to defend itself.
But it's not about defence. Iran has repeatedly talked about wanting to destroy America and destroy Israel. So it's not defence.
Yeah, and Israel has destroyed another country, right? And Israel has gone ahead and destroyed Gaza.
It's not a country, respectfully. I'm very critical of what's going on in Gaza, but Israel hasn't destroyed another country. The Iranian regime wants to destroy at least two countries, and I think we'd probably have Britain on the list as well. They have sworn that they want to destroy, they shout death to America. There's a countdown clock in Tehran counting down to the destruction of the state of Israel. They're not these sort of innocent victims that have been, as you put it, backed into a corner here. They are a violent, despotic, fundamentalist regime that brutalised their own people and destabilised the entire region, I would put it to you.
I think there's definitely different ideologies in the different parts of the world, and for us to say that, hey, look, their ideology isn't something that we can agree with. They haven't. They may have claimed this kind of thing from years ago.
Why is brutally repressing women not something that we should say we disagree with?
Okay, but
why is murdering anyone who dares to stand up to the Ayatollah something we shouldn't say we disagree with?
Would you say that banning the Muslim women's dress is something that is acceptable?
What, sorry?
Would you say that if we're in the UK or we ban the hijab, that's fine?
I don't really think banning the hijab is comparable to the way that Iran treats women, Russell. Are you seriously suggesting there is any comparison between banning the hijab?
What I'm trying to say is
and
that
the systematic misogyny that governs the laws of Iran.
The systematic misogyny kind of existed all around the world, and we've moved on from it. But
it hasn't in Iran, have we? We haven't in Iran. Haven't moved on from it there.
But that doesn't give us the right to force it, does it?
Why not?
We don't have Why do we have that right? Why can't Iran live the way that it wants to? Why can't any Islamic country?
Because they can't.
Let's say it in another way.
That's exactly the point,
in an Islamic, in Islamic tradition, that may be what people want to follow.
All right, let me put this to you. Hold on, Russell. Do you think the people of Iran want to live how the people of Iran are living?
I think if the people of Iran wants to do something different about it,
well, they don't get a say. This is so... You're living in a dream world, respectfully. The people of Iran have no say over how they are governed because they live in a brutal, repressive dictatorship.
Haven't they recently had elections?
In Iran?
Yeah.
No. And any elections that are there are a sham. It is one of the most authoritarian, despotic countries on the face of this earth.
Look, there's lots of countries just like that.
I come from Russell, I'm really sorry. I
come from Bangladesh, which has just overthrown its last prime minister.
This apologism for the Iranian regime that we've heard.
I'm not trying to be apologist.
You are basically suggesting that their values are no worse than ours, and we have no right to stand up for the rights of women or gay people or people to choose who governs them in a democracy. Because apparently
we're not going into war with them to say that, hey, we're going to fight for the women's rights.
But your whole point about who are we to stand up?
Exactly. Who are we to stand up against that?
So we just let women be repressed.
If that's the reason why we should invade Iran, then we should have done it years ago. We should have done it like 40 years ago or 30 years ago or 20
Russell,
years ago.
I've got to be honest with you. It frightens me how sympathetic you sound to one of the most despotic governments and regimes on the face of the earth right now.
Is Dubai any better? Is Saudi Arab any better?
Pardon?
Is Saudi Arab or Dubai?
But
or,
again, that's what about her, isn't it?
I think you're.
And yes, actually, people have a lot more. Women now have more rights in Saudi Arabia than they do in much of Iran. I'm not saying Saudi Arabia is a bastion of liberal sort of tolerance and democracy by any means.
So your perspective, from your perspective, you're saying that if they conform to Western values, that's the only freedom to women that we would support. Is that the idea?
If what? Sorry, just say that again.
Would you say that our Western perspective on the freedom that women should have?
We're sort of coming at it from different perspectives, because your view is let's
try to go to that stretch.
But we do.
The US president has claimed that he thinks that holding women in particular parts of the body, it's fine.
But again, Russell, you're trying to draw comparisons between some abhorrent comments that Donald Trump has made and a country where women have fewer rights than they do almost anywhere else on earth. And I'm afraid the comparison doesn't stand. Has Donald Trump said some awful things about women? Yes. Are women's rights not what they ought to be in some parts of the States on things like abortion? Of course they are. Would you rather be a woman in Texas or Tehran, Russell? That's the question, isn't it? What's the answer?
I think
just on that, would you rather be a woman in Texas or Tehran?
I think both have its own benefits, and I think for different women with different.
Do you think there's a genuine case that being a woman in Tehran is easier than being a woman in Texas?
I think if you ask moderate Muslim women, okay, they probably wouldn't have an issue. They don't have.
You genuinely think that it might be better off being a woman in Iran than the United States of America?
I have to say that, look, we're kind of going around in circles.
I just can't believe there's not a simple answer to that question.
But the point is that if that is the reason that we should think that Iran should be destroyed or the regime should be changed.
I'm not saying that's why this should happen. There are very different reasons to do nuclear weapons, why there are concerns about Iran. I'm just taking on your idea that we are not one to judge and that somehow Iran isn't that bad, because in my view, it really, really, really is. And that's putting it mildly.